Hi girls, so I put the homework up in a Word file for the transformations in geometry. They were excellently done, girl. From what I see now, I looked at them the evening before they were due, but there was about 12 of them already in, and there were really no mistakes. Some of you went to great detail in terms of plotting, which wasn't necessarily needed. You just needed to know where the root was, whether it was a U shape or not, and then you could draw it. Some of you plotted loads of points and stuff, but they were wonderful, they were perfect. But I've given you the homework, the answers to those homework, and a little blurb on them in the Word document, and that's where we're going to leave quadratic patterns, plotting quadratics and working with quadratics, because we had done a huge amount of it, thankfully, before you left, even though we never really said we were in that chapter, but we had most of it done, thankfully. As we come across, maybe in the last week or two of term, if we come across any exam questions that you found were difficult or whatever, we'll take a look at them then. We have two more major chapters to do, which is chapter 26, which is going to be very short and very simple and very quick. And then we have exponentials, and again, we might need to spend a little longer on exponentials, but not too much longer, okay? And then we have pretty much everything done. We'll run through it. I'll make sure again that there's not, but there were little bits here, there and everywhere that I needed to go back and tidy up. So we'll do them. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Chapter 26 is called The Manipulation of Formula. Sounds very fancy. And this is where you're given a formula like this. Now, you do manipulation of formula all the time, okay? For example, if you were working we'd say, in a previous chapter, we didn't do that long ago, distance, speed and time, daddy silly triangle, that's manipulation of formula, okay? You can get from this one triangle 3 different formulas, okay? So you could get distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. But let's say you didn't know the triangle, and that's all you remembered, okay? How would I find out speed from here? So that's manipulation of formula. I'd say to myself, okay, I want to know what speed is. What's stopping me from having speed? Time. What's time doing? It's multiplying. What's the opposite to multiplying? It's dividing. So I go divide across by t, and I'll get speed on its own. We've been doing manipulation of formula. Well, you've been doing it since first year, but we've been doing it every day in class since the beginning of your time in second year. If we had a formula like, for example, x plus 4 is equal to 10, we're manipulating that formula. We want to know what x is. How do we get x on its own? We say to ourselves, well, the 4 is stopping me. How do I move the 4? I take it away. So my little stabilizers, and I'm taking 4 away from each side. X is equal to 6. That's manipulating a formula. When there's numbers in it, manipulating of formulas are very, very straightforward and something you're so used to doing. But when they're all letters, sometimes you just get a little bit of a block. So that's what this chapter is about, is breaking that one down for you. So for example, here's a formula. It's V is equal to U plus AT. I don't know what any of those letters mean, and it doesn't make any difference. But what I want to know is what U is worth. So I want it, when I'm finished, I want to know what U is equal to. So I want U is equal to. Okay. At the moment, I have V is equal to, I don't want that. So I stop and I say, well, I want U on its own. What's stopping me from having U on its own? AT. What is AT doing? It's adding. How do I move AT? I take AT away. So now it's going to be V minus AT is equal to U. Do I now know what U is? Yes. U is V minus AT. So it's exactly what we were doing here, but just only with letters. Okay, another one. I want M on its own. Okay, so let's stop and look at it. I want this M on its own. What's stopping me from having M? The minus A, that's multiplying it, and the BC. We've always said that you always move the thing furthest away. So if I'm having trouble with a student, I never move that particular student. So you never move this one or the one right beside it, because then they're just going to get up in arms. You always move the person who's furthest away. So we're going to move this BC first. What's that BC doing? Well, what sign's in front of BC? That's a plus. So how do I move BC? I take it away. So minus BC is going to be my first step. So it's now f minus bc is equal to minus am. Okay. Now I still want m on its own. So what's stopping me from having a m on its own? Minus a. What's the minus a doing? There's no sign between them. So this must be multiplying. How do I move a multiplication? Divide by minus a, divide by minus a. So now it's going to be f minus bc, all of it divided by minus a, is equal to m. And I think why students find this hard is because how do you know when you're finished? So I know I'm finished now because I wanted to know what m was worth. Have I got m equals? I'm now finished. But you're not going to get an answer. You're not going to get a number as an answer. Okay, I want m on its own. What's stopping me from having m on its own here? The a or the a. What's the a doing? No sign between them, so it's multiplying. How do I move it? Divide by a. So now it's f divided by a is equal to m. I wanted to know what m is. Am I finished? Yes, I am. I have now, the fancy word is manipulate it. Manipulate it just means make use of the formula to find out what you want. Okay? And you do it with distance, speed and time all the time, but you have a silly triangle to help you remember it. But what they're saying is you don't need the silly triangle, or you shouldn't need the silly triangle. Most of what you do in maths class stays in maths class, but this one will come with you if you choose to do biology, chemistry or physics or ag science. We would use manipulation of formula all the time. So other ones that we would use is, what would we use? Volume multiplied by density is equal to mass. And then we would say to ourselves, well, actually, it's not mass I want to know, it's the volume I need to know in this particular question. So how do I move the density? Well, at the moment it's multiplied, so the opposite to that is divide. Okay, and we would use those sort of formulas in chemistry and physics in particular all the time, especially as you come into fifth year. You need to start slowly, see how you get on, okay? And then I'll see where you're going and if you're able for it. And if not, then I'll break them down and do slower ones, okay? Miss Bennett gave me a video that her class had used and watched, and they said it was very good. So we can try that as well. It was a YouTube video from someone else. I haven't watched it myself, but they were saying that they were happy with it. So if you can't get it from this, we'll have loads of other ways of going about it, okay? So we're going to just try, we'd say page 542. So we'll just try a few and see how we go. Page 542, and it's question number, we'd say 4, 9, 14 and 19. Yeah, 4, 9, 14 and 19. So you have a couple of easy ones, 4 and 9, and then a couple of more stinky ones, 14 and 19. All right, and let's see how you get on with them and see if you can arrange them. And if you can, then we'll move on. And if you can't, we'll take a further look at a few more. Okay, I want to talk to you later. Take care.